Hey there. National Herb Day's coming up, and it got me thinking about how we kind of take for granted simple, everyday things. And I don't know about you, but I kind of went down a rabbit hole looking at all this research on herbs and how they can help eye health.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? For centuries, all these different cultures have used herbs for all sorts of things, even eye problems, way before modern medicine.
And the thing that really blew my mind is it's not like we're talking about some, rare exotic herbs.
Right.
This is stuff that most people probably already have in their kitchen. Turmeric, fennel, saffron.
Oh, yeah.
Like, who knew that our spice rack could actually be like an eye health booster?
Yeah. Well, it really highlights how nature just gives us all of these resources. And one of the sources we were looking at, herbslicepodcast.pdf, talks about how in India, they really integrate herbs into their daily life, not just for the flavor, but for all of these therapeutic properties, including for eye health.
So before we get into the specifics of which herbs do it, can we just take a step back and talk about how our eyes work?
Absolutely.
Because I think a little refresher course would be helpful.
Yeah, so think of your eye like a camera.
Okay.
So the retina that's at the back of the eye, that's like the film, it's capturing all the light.
Okay.
Then the optic nerve is like the cable. It transmits those images to the brain. Mm-hmm. And then the lens is like the lens of the camera. It helps focus the light for, a clear picture.
Right.
But like with any complex system, things can go wrong.
Yeah, and it seems like with, all the digital devices these days, we're experiencing that more and more. I mean, dry eye is almost like an epidemic now.
Yeah.
And then there's conjunctivitis and eye strain. It's like our eyes are just under constant assault.
Yeah, they really are. So with that in mind, let's talk about some of these all-star herbs that might be able to protect our eyes.
Okay.
So first up, bilberry.
Okay, bilberry. This one has a great story behind it. I read that World War II pilots, they swore by bilberries. They said it improved their night vision during missions.
Oh, wow.
Is there any truth to that?
Well, there is actually some science to that.
Really?
Bilberries have these things called anthocyanins, which are potent antioxidants, and they can help protect your eyes from damage from those free radicals. And studies have shown that bilberry extract can actually improve night vision and increase blood flow to the eyes.
So it's not just an old wives' tale?
Not at all.
So are there any specific bilberry supplements or dosages that are recommended?
Well, the research suggests that standardized bilberry extracts are best, and they usually have 25% anthocyanins.
Okay.
Dosage recommendations vary, but you're probably looking at around 160 to 320 milligrams daily.
Oh, okay.
But as always, check with your doctor before starting a new supplement.
Of course, yeah. Now, what about Eyebright? I mean, the name itself makes it sound like it's good for the eyes.
Yeah.
What's the story with that one?
Well, Eyebright, it's known for its soothing and astringent properties, and it's been used for a long time to relieve eye strain and just discomfort in general, especially for things like conjunctivitis. So think of it as a natural remedy for those of us who are glued to our screens.
I like the sound of that. Speaking of screens, what about turmeric? I mean, we all know it's like a super anti-inflammatory.
Right.
But how does that actually translate to eye health?
So those anti-inflammatory benefits, they can actually help your eyes too.
Okay.
Turmeric has this compound called curcumin, and it's been studied for its ability to reduce inflammation in the eye, and it might protect against things like dry eye and even cataracts.
Okay. Starting to see a theme here. Antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties.
Yeah.
What about green tea?
Green tea, another excellent source of antioxidants, particularly these things called catechins, and they can protect against free radical damage and support overall eye health. Studies have even shown that green tea can reach the retina, which means it can offer localized protection.
It's like a direct delivery system.
Exactly.
And speaking of direct delivery, I know Ginkgo Biloba is usually thought of for cognitive function and memory.
Right.
But I've heard it can also be good for eye health.
It can.
How so?
Well, Ginkgo Biloba is known for improving blood flow.
Yeah.
And that's important for our eyes because that means those vital nutrients and oxygen are reaching the retina.
Makes sense.
Some studies have shown that Ginkgo biloba can actually improve visual acuity in people with certain eye conditions like glaucoma.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's not just about protecting the eye. It's also about making sure it has what it needs to function at its best.
Exactly.
Now let's move on to something a little more exotic, saffron.
Oh, yeah.
What about that one?
Saffron is a prized spice, and not just for cooking.
Right.
It's got all these potential health benefits.
Okay.
It's rich in antioxidants like crocin and safranol, and those may protect against oxidative damage and also support healthy blood flow to the eyes.
Mm.
And some early research even suggests it could benefit age-related macular degeneration.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
What stage is that research at? Are there clinical trials going on?
It's still pretty early.
Okay.
There have been a few small studies that show some positive results,
Okay.
but we need larger, more robust clinical trials to really confirm those findings and figure out the best dosages and the long-term effects.
So definitely something to watch.
Definitely.
But it's pretty amazing to think that a spice that we use in cooking
I know, right?
could have that much, therapeutic potential.
Yeah.
Before we get too far down the exotic herb path, what about those everyday herbs that we use all the time? Basil, parsley, thyme.
Oh, yeah.
Do those have any eye health benefits?
Absolutely. They may be common, but they're packed with nutrition.
Okay.
They contain lutein and zeaxanthin.
Okay.
Those are powerful antioxidants that are actually concentrated in the macula.
Okay.
That's that central part of the retina that's responsible for that sharp, detailed vision.
So even the herbs that we're using all the time for cooking can still contribute to eye health. Now, you mentioned earlier a supplement called Gaia Herbs Healthy Vision.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what makes it stand out?
Yeah. So Gaia Herbs Healthy Vision, it's a blend of herbs and nutrients specifically designed to support eye health. It includes bilberry, which we talked about for its antioxidant power.
Right.
It also contains lutein and zeaxanthin, those macular pigments.
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting. It also has grapeseed extract.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What's so special about grapeseed extract?
Well, grapeseed extract is loaded with these things called proanthocyanidins, and they are really potent antioxidants.
Okay.
And they can support those tiny little blood vessels in your eye, which is crucial for delivering nutrients and oxygen to those delicate tissues.
Right.
They also have anti-inflammatory properties, and they might even protect against blue light damage.
So it's like all these ingredients working together for comprehensive eye support.
Yeah, it really is. And it combines that traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. But before anybody runs out to buy it, we should probably emphasize that everybody is different.
Right.
And it's always best to talk to a healthcare professional before starting any new supplements. Yeah.
Absolutely. Supplements can interact with medications or have unintended side effects.
Yeah.
So it's always best to talk to your doctor to get their advice.
So we've talked about a lot of different herbs and even specialized supplements.
We have.
But it seems like good eye care goes beyond just what we eat or take.
Does.
What else can we do to protect our vision?
Well, eye health, it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's about lifestyle choices, your diet, staying hydrated.
Yeah.
It all plays a role.
Oh, okay. So let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's start with regular eye exams. How important are those?
Oh, they're essential.
Yeah.
They're absolutely crucial for early detection and prevention of any problems.
Okay.
Think of it like preventative maintenance for your eyes. A lot of eye conditions like glaucoma, they can develop slowly without you even noticing any symptoms. And so regular checkups, let your eye doctor catch any potential issues early on when they're much easier to treat.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's like going to the dentist for cleanings. You might not feel anything wrong,
Right.
but it's always better to catch things early.
Absolutely.
So eye exams are definitely on the list. What about diet and hydration? What role do those play in eye health?
Well, diet and hydration, those are fundamental to overall health, and that includes our eyes. Think about it. Our eyes are constantly working, processing all this visual information. That takes energy, that takes nutrients, and a balanced diet provides those building blocks.
So what are some of the key nutrients we should be focusing on for eye health?
Well, the sources we've been looking at, they highlight a few superstars.
Okay.
Omega-3 fatty acids, those are really important for reducing inflammation.
Okay.
And they support tear production, which is crucial for preventing dry eye. You can find them in fatty fish like salmon tuna, also flax seeds and walnuts.
Good sources. And I remember from earlier that vitamin A is also important.
Yes.
It's crucial for healthy vision, especially in low light.
Right. You got to load up on sweet potatoes, carrots,
Okay.
leafy greens like spinach and kale. All of those are packed with vitamin A.
Those are all good. And vitamin C, I remember that was important for like protecting the tear film and the delicate blood vessels in the eye.
Exactly. Citrus fruits, bell peppers, broccoli.
Yeah.
Those are all excellent sources of vitamin C.
Okay.
And don't forget about zinc.
Oh yeah, zinc.
Zinc helps transport vitamin A to the retina.
Okay.
And there, it gets converted into a form our eyes can actually use. You can find zinc in things like oysters, beef nuts, and seeds.
So many good foods. It sounds like a pretty delicious way to support eye health.
I think so.
So we've got the nutrients covered. What about hydration?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Hydration is key for keeping those tears flowing and preventing dry eye.
Okay.
You know, our tears are mostly water, so if we're not drinking enough, our eyes can get dry, irritated, even blurry. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day.
Okay.
And try to limit those dehydrating drinks, like sugary drinks and alcohol.
Yeah. It's amazing how something as simple as drinking enough water can make such a big difference for our eye health.
It really is.
Speaking of simple things, I've heard about the 20-20-20 rule for eye strain, especially with all the screen time we're all doing.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
So the 20-20-20 rule, it's a really easy way to reduce eye strain.
Okay.
Basically, every 20 minutes, you take a 20-second break from your screen.
Okay.
And you focus on something that's at least 20 feet away.
Okay, so give your eyes a break.
Exactly. It gives your eye muscles a break from constantly having to focus on that screen.
I'm definitely guilty of not doing that. I get so focused on what I'm doing, I just forget.
It's easy to do.
Are there any other tips for, like, minimizing that screen time strain?
Sure. Adjusting your screen brightness can really help make sure it's at a comfortable level.
Yeah.
You can also try blue light filters on your devices and just try to be mindful about taking breaks.
Yeah.
Step away from the screen every now and then. Give your eyes a chance to rest and refocus.
All good reminders. Now, we talked about dry eye a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But I think it deserves a deeper dive.
Okay.
It just seems to be such a common problem these days.
You're right. Dry eye syndrome is on the rise, and it can be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a condition where your eyes either aren't producing enough lubrication or the tears evaporate too quickly. And that leaves your eyes feeling dry and gritty and irritated.
So it's not just about being in a dry environment.
Right.
Although that can contribute.
It can.
What are some of the other factors that can cause dry eye?
Well, it's kind of a multifaceted problem.
Yeah.
Age plays a role. As we get older, our tear production tends to decrease.
Okay.
Certain medical conditions can also contribute, like autoimmune disorders. And as we talked about earlier, nutritional deficiencies, especially omega-3s and vitamin A, those can impact your tear quality and production.
And I'm guessing all the screen time we're doing isn't helping.
Probably not. When we stare at screens, we tend to blink less.
Right.
And that disrupts the tear film.
Yeah.
So blinking more often, that's a simple but effective way to combat dry eye.
Okay.
A humidifier can also help, especially if you're in a dry environment.
Right.
And if you wear contact lenses, you might want to try switching to glasses.
Okay.
At least for part of the day, just to give your eyes a break.
Those are all good tips. I've also heard about warm compresses for dry eye.
Yeah.
How do those work, and are they effective?
Warm compresses, they can be really beneficial, especially for a specific type of dry eye that's related to something called meibomian gland dysfunction.
Okay. I'm going to need you to break that down for me. What are meibomian glands?
Okay, so they're these tiny little glands in your eyelids.
Okay.
And they produce an oily substance that helps lubricate your eyes. And it keeps those tears from evaporating too quickly.
Okay.
But when these glands get clogged or inflamed, it can mess with the tear film.
Right.
And that leads to dry eye.
So that's where the warm compresses come in.
Exactly. Applying a warm compress, it helps soften those oils and unclog the glands. The source we were looking at, it actually recommends a 3-step technique.
Okay.
First, you apply a warming mask or compress to your eyelids for like 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Then, while the compress is still on, you gently massage your eyelids to help express those oils. And then finally, you use a clean, damp cloth or an eyelid wipe just to gently remove any debris or crustiness.
It's like a little spa treatment for your eyes.
Right.
What about herbal remedies for dry eye? We talked about the potential benefits of some of those herbs earlier.
Yeah.
Are there any that stand out as being particularly helpful?
There are a few. Ginkgo Biloba, for instance. It can improve blood circulation to the eyes.
Okay.
So it might actually boost tear production.
Interesting.
Turmeric, with its anti-inflammatory properties, can help reduce eye irritation,
Yeah.
which is a common symptom of dry eye.
Right.
And chamomile, that's known for its soothing and anti-inflammatory effects. You can actually use it as a compress to soothe those tired, irritated eyes.
So we've got ginkgo biloba, turmeric, chamomile, all potential natural allies in the fight against dry eye.
That's right.
And, of course, we can't forget bilberry with its antioxidant power.
Of course, bilberry can strengthen those blood vessels in the eye.
Yeah.
And that can also help reduce dry eye symptoms.
And I imagine a healthy diet rich in those omega-3s, vitamin A, vitamin C.
Absolutely.
That can also play a role.
Definitely. Those nutrients can address some of the underlying causes of dry eye and just support your overall eye health.
Right. And then, of course, staying well hydrated, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, staying hydrated is essential.
Yeah. It's like all these pieces fit together, diet, hydration, lifestyle choices.
It all works together.
They all contribute to the bigger picture of eye health. Now, while all these natural remedies and lifestyle changes can be really helpful, I know there are also conventional treatments for dry eye, especially for more severe cases. What are some of those options?
Well, eye drops are usually the first line of defense.
Okay.
They provide temporary relief by lubricating the eye surface. They kind of supplement that natural tear film.
Okay, but I know there are so many different types of eye drops.
There are.
It can be really overwhelming to figure out which one to choose.
It can be?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are preservative-free drops, which are good if you have sensitive eyes.
Okay.
There are gel-based drops. Those offer longer-lasting lubrication. So those are good for nighttime use.
Okay.
And if you wear contact lenses, there are re-wetting drops that are made specifically to be used with contacts.
So it's definitely worth talking to your eye doctor to figure out which one is right for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I've also heard about a treatment called IPL therapy for dry eye.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
IPL stands for Intense Pulsed Light Therapy.
Okay.
It's a fairly new treatment for dry eye, but it's showing a lot of promise.
Okay.
It's especially helpful for people with that more chronic dry eye that's related to the meibomian gland dysfunction.
Right. We talked about those glands earlier, the ones that produce the oil for our tear film.
Right. So how IPL works is it uses pulses of light to target and reduce inflammation in the eyelids. This helps improve blood flow to the meibomian glands.
Okay.
And it allows them to function better, so they produce healthier oils, and that improves the tear film.
So it's addressing the underlying cause of the dry eye.
Exactly.
Rather than just masking the symptoms.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And it's usually done in a series of sessions.
Okay.
And a lot of people experience long-term relief from their dry eye symptoms.
It sounds pretty revolutionary for those who are really struggling with chronic dry eye.
It can be life-changing for some people.
But of course, it's always important to talk to an eye care professional.
Right.
To see if it's right for you.
Absolutely. Now, while dry eye is a common concern, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a more serious condition.
Okay.
Glaucoma.
Glaucoma, that's a scary one. It's often called the silent thief of sight.
Yeah.
Because it can progress without any noticeable symptoms in the early stages.
You're exactly right. Glaucoma damages the optic nerve. That's the nerve that carries those visual signals from your eye to your brain.
Right.
And if it's left untreated, it can lead to permanent vision loss.
So early detection is key.
Absolutely.
We talked about regular eye exams being important for catching things like glaucoma early on.
Right.
What are some of the conventional treatments for glaucoma once it's diagnosed?
So the main goal of treating glaucoma is to lower the pressure inside the eye.
Okay.
That's called intraocular pressure.
Okay.
Elevated intraocular pressure is a major risk factor for glaucoma. And controlling it can slow or even prevent further damage to that optic nerve.
So how is that pressure typically lowered?
Well, the most common treatment is prescription eye drops.
Okay.
There are a bunch of different kinds of eye drops.
Yeah.
They all work in slightly different ways to lower the pressure. Some increase how quickly fluid drains from the eye, while others actually decrease fluid production.
And what if eye drops aren't enough to control the pressure?
Well, in some cases, you might need laser treatments or even surgery.
Okay.
Laser treatments can help improve that fluid drainage or reduce fluid production. And surgery can actually create a new drainage pathway for the fluid.
Okay.
The specific treatment that's best for you is going to depend on the type of glaucoma you have.
Right.
How severe it is.
Yeah.
And your individual needs.
So it sounds like managing glaucoma is often a multi-pronged approach.
It often is.
Yeah.
And research is ongoing to develop new treatments.
Okay.
Including things called neuroprotective therapies, which aim to protect the optic nerve from any further damage.
That's encouraging. It seems like there's a lot happening in the world of eye health, both in terms of conventional treatments and exploring those natural remedies.
There is, and as we learn more about how our eyes work and the potential of both natural and conventional therapies, we can hope to find even more effective ways to protect and preserve our vision.
Absolutely. Now, circling back to the herbs we were talking about earlier, specifically Ginkgo Biloba, bilberry,
Yes.
and medical marijuana,
Okay.
I know those are sometimes mentioned in relation to glaucoma.
Right.
Can we delve a little deeper into that?
Sure.
We know that Ginkgo Biloba and bilberry have neuroprotective properties.
Right.
But how does that relate to glaucoma specifically?
Well, glaucoma, as we mentioned, it involves damage to the optic nerve.
Right.
So the thinking is that these herbs, with their neuroprotective effects, might help protect those delicate nerve cells from further damage.
So they could potentially slow down the progression of the disease.
That's the hope. But the research is still pretty limited.
Yeah.
We need more studies to really know for sure how effective they are.
Right.
With Ginkgo biloba, there's some evidence it can improve blood flow to the optic nerve, which could be beneficial.
And bilberry with its antioxidant effects?
Yes, bilberry's antioxidant effects might help reduce oxidative stress, which we know plays a role in how glaucoma develops.
Okay. What about medical marijuana? That seems to be a more controversial one.
Yeah, it is. There is some evidence that suggests that medical marijuana can lower that intraocular pressure.
Right.
Which, remember, is a key factor in glaucoma.
Right.
But it's important to remember that elevated intraocular pressure is just one piece of the puzzle. Glaucoma is a complex disease, and simply lowering the pressure might not be enough to solve the problem.
And what about the potential side effects of medical marijuana?
That's a big concern. There's the risk of psychoactive effects, cardiovascular problems, even addiction. And another issue is that the duration of action is pretty short. Which means people would need to use it a lot throughout the day.
Right, to maintain the benefit.
Exactly.
So it sounds like there are a lot of complexities when it comes to medical marijuana and glaucoma.
Definitely. Well, it's interesting to think about the potential benefits. It's crucial to weigh those against the risks.
Yeah.
And remember that medical marijuana is not currently a standard treatment for glaucoma.
Right.
It's really important to talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
If you're considering using medical marijuana for a glaucoma,
of course,
they can assess your individual situation.
Yeah.
And give you the best advice.
Absolutely. It's so important to have those open and honest conversations with your doctor.
It is.
Before making any decisions about alternative therapies.
Absolutely. And even with conventional treatments.
Yeah.
Managing glaucoma is an ongoing process.
Right.
You need to work closely with your healthcare provider.
Yeah.
And be monitored regularly.
So we've talked about those conventional treatments and some of the herbs that people are looking into for glaucoma. But before we wrap up this whole deep dive, I wanted to touch on one more point from the source material, the historical perspective.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about how people have been using herbs for medicinal purposes for centuries, including for eye health.
For so long.
It shows this deep connection between humans and nature and this ongoing search for healing and relief.
The source we were looking at, herbsciespodcast.pdf, it mentions how in India, herbs are just woven into their daily lives.
It's a part of their culture.
Yeah. Not just for cooking, but also for their potential health benefits.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder how much traditional knowledge we've lost touch with over the years.
It really does. And as modern science continues to explore the potential of these ancient remedies, we might rediscover some really valuable insights that can complement our current understanding of health and well-being.
I'm all for blending the wisdom of the past with the advancements of today.
Me too.
Have you noticed how eye health has become even more of a focus in recent years?
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to ignore the impact of all this technology.
Right.
Our digital world is definitely having an effect on our eyes. Screen time has just exploded.
It has.
And along with that, we have concerns about eye strain, dry eye.
Right.
And the potential long-term effects of all that blue light exposure.
It can be a bit overwhelming to think about, especially since the research on those long-term effects is still kind of unfolding.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And it really highlights how important it is to be proactive about our eye health.
Absolutely.
Make those lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
Prioritize good nutrition and hydration and really pay attention to how much time we're spending in front of screens.
And of course, see our eye doctor regularly.
Of course. That's key.
Yeah.
Early detection is so important for so many eye conditions.
Right.
And regular checkups can help ensure that any problems are caught and treated early.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. It's been quite a journey from common kitchen herbs to cutting-edge therapies.
It has been.
And what's really striking to me is just how interconnected everything is when it comes to eye health.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not about just one thing.
It's about the big picture.
Yeah, it's the interplay of lifestyle choices, diet, hydration, seeking professional care when we need it.
It's holistic.
Yeah, it's a holistic approach, recognizing that our eyes are part of a larger system.
Right.
And everything we do or don't do can impact their health and well-being. And that, to me, is actually really empowering.
I agree. It means we have some control over our eye health.
Yeah.
We're not just at the mercy of fate.
Mm-hmm.
We can make choices every day that support our vision and help preserve it for years to come.
I love that perspective. It's a message of empowerment, not fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
what stood out to you the most? What really resonated with you?
Honestly, for me, it's that reminder that even small everyday choices can have a big impact. It's not about making these huge, overwhelming changes all at once.
Right.
It's about those little things that we do consistently that add up over time.
I like that. It's about mindfulness in all aspects of our health.
Yeah.
Including our eye health.
It's so easy to take our vision for granted until something goes wrong.
It is.
But this deep dive has been a good reminder to appreciate our eyes.
Absolutely.
And give them the care they deserve. Yeah, it really has been eye-opening, so to speak.
I see what you did there.
Ah.
But you're right. We often forget how much our vision impacts our everyday lives. You know, being able to see the beauty around us, connect with other people.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, do you have a final thought-provoking question to leave our listener with?
Let me see.
Something to think about as we all, celebrate National Herb Day coming up.
Okay, well, we've talked about the potential of those herbs like Ginkgo Biloba and bilberry.
Right.
And how they can support eye health, maybe even for serious conditions like glaucoma.
Yeah.
So given all this research that's being done, how do you think eye care might change in the future? Could we start to see more of these natural remedies being used alongside those conventional treatments?
That's a great question. It'll be really interesting to see how the landscape of eye care shifts as we learn more and as the research continues.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of speaks to a larger trend we're seeing in healthcare in general.
Okay.
There's this growing interest in these more holistic and integrative approaches.
Yeah.
You know, blending the best of conventional medicine with the wisdom of these traditional healing practices.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities. Maybe one day we'll have personalized eye care plans.
Yeah.
That take into account our diet and lifestyle.
Right.
And incorporate those targeted herbal therapies along with any necessary medical interventions.
That's a great vision for the future of eye care.
Yeah.
And it really highlights how important it is to stay informed, to ask questions, to be an active participant in our own health journey.
Absolutely. So to our listener out there, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to take charge of your eye health.
You know, knowledge is power. And those small, consistent actions, they can make a world of difference over time.
Well said. So as we head into National Herb Day, why not try a new herb-infused recipe?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Or maybe just brew a cup of that eye-healthy green tea we talked about.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. And here's to a future filled with clear, vibrant vision for us all.
Absolutely.